Good morning, everybody, and this is your DAX day trade setups for today. So, quite a few interesting questions coming through, so please keep them coming. I'll answer all the questions, so just keep them coming. Anyway, so again, a few questions on diversions and a couple of people asking, how it works. So let's just focus on a couple of scenarios here quickly before we get into the chart. So the first one is if we look at prices making lower lows. Look at the oscillator is making higher lows. So that is diversions. And when you see that kind of diversions, when you're in a downward trend, it is always a possibility that you have some kind of a pullback happening. Also, the other thing you need to bear in mind is if you have structure like we have here, that is a flag. A flag target has been hit by now, but that is also a solid indication that the diversions is about to play out. So that's the one thing. And if you look at it from there was another one here. Okay, here's another one here. You can see price moving down, oscillators moving up, and we move to the upside. And it's also the same on the top. You see price making new highs, oscillator making a low. When you see that kind of price action, you can see this happened over 2 weeks, but it is always a sign to be very, very careful because something is brewing, and you can see how strong this fall was here. Anyway, so this is just an indicator. It's not something to live and die by, as are the stochastics. They're just an indicator. So they just give you an indication that something is brewing. Then you need to switch to price action, and you need to switch to what's actually going on the charts before you start jumping in. Right, so a couple of levels that are breaking at the moment, and that's the first one that is giving way. And what I want to do is just add, charts are going to be messy, so just bear with me, because this area here was the previous swing low. If I look at that on the weekly, you can see those are the weekly tails there. And have a look at what we've done already. We've already engulfed the previous week's bar, and we're only on Tuesday. And if you look to the left, there is a lot going on here. And I think it's probably worthwhile just adding, let's add that level in there. So you see what I'm doing? I'm picking up on the tails to the left, and this is the most important part here, because from a bearish view, this is a triangle break. It's a flat bottom triangle break, which could indicate a move to the downside. However, if you look at what's happening here, this could also be a trap. And when I say trap, it's basically the bears have traded the break and they're jumping in, and the bulls are now trying to take those stops, and that's exactly what looks like is transpiring at the moment. Anyway, let's look at our day trade setups for today. So strong breaks at the moment. We're coming rapidly up into these areas. I'm going to get down to the levels we need to be paying attention to. This is a double bottom. So you can see there's the first leg. Well, it's actually a triple bottom. 1, 2, 3 legs. You can see the diversions are clear as daylight here. Moving down, moving up. Oscillators are grouping the upside as we get through, but this is the neckline of the double bottom or triple bottom. So if this holds and gets tested, we have a great opportunity brewing. Moving averages are starting to roll and point to the upside. Haven't crossed over yet, so trend is still down until we pass through the 155 EMA on the 3 hour here. The trend is down. However, when we get down to the hour, you can see we have a crossover of the moving averages, we have a break of the 155 EMA, and we have sort of broken through this level of what was resistance. Didn't really hold much water. That's 12314. And if you look to the left, there's been a lot of selling in this area. So I'd be reluctant to jump in long here. I'd be wanting to see a pullback. Now, I'm just going to start adding a few other levels in. So you can see there is a clear level. There's a gap there. And then we have another level here And you see the fractals here. So this is probably a little bit more interesting. So this is the zone I would be waiting for a pullback. And I'm going to do this on the 15 minutes as usual. You can see oscillators all over the place on the 15 minutes. So what we'd be waiting for is a pullback to preferably 12,200, 12,203, and then alternatively 12,160. I say preferably because if you look at what's happened here going into the close, we broke, we sort of hovered here, found support here, then broke above. Then we came back and we've tested this with sort of a double bottom, gapped up this morning. So this level could also be of interest, which is 12,314. You want to see some kind of a pullback before jumping in. There may not be one. This trend on the 15 minute is pretty strong at the moment. So you're going to need to pay very close attention to what's going on. These are the three levels I would prefer. And then you've got overhead resistance here, which is massive. Okay, so it's an 8 hour, it's a weekly basically resistance ahead of us. So that is 12,378 and 12,428. If we get through this stuff easily, in other words, just without even bumping our head, so we don't do this kind of price action here, you can expect us to go up and hit 12,621. So in that, what I would be doing is get down to a low time frame if it is just running, and wait for the low time frame retest, break and retest of structure. So it could be the 15, could even go down to the 5 minute. I wouldn't go lower than the 5 minute, but that would give you the entry. So you can watch it for like half an hour with a cup of coffee, comes back, boom. Stop is going to be below the previous swing low. At the moment you have one here, and then you've got this area. I would have my stop below 12,160 for any trade that comes into this in this zone here. And if I just drop to the 5 minute, you'll see what I'm talking about. See, 5 minutes all the way down, oscillators down, then crossed far apart in this area. Not so much support to the left, but you can see we're using the moving average as support. So great opportunity to get some good money in today on the DAX. So pay very close attention and don't get suckered in jumping in too high. Wait for the pullback. It will come. Market doesn't move in a straight line. You can see it moves in a zigzag function but trends in a direction. And I think that's what's going to continue today. Lastly, on that daily, look at that daily engulfing. Taken out the previous Friday's close proper. We've got a nice crossover of the oscillators here pointing to the upside. My view at the moment is we are aiming for these two areas. If we break through this area, look a little bit higher to the next one. Trend is still down, no arguments about that, but I don't think you want to be short just yet. You need to wait for resistance on a higher level. Anyway, that's kind of my view today. Hope it helps. Keep your wits about you, keep your stops really close, and hopefully we make some money today. Anyway, we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Cheers for now.